What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Alvarez Project. I say this every time, but I actually mean it every time I say it. Super excited for today's guest. Today's guest is an entrepreneur, a business owner, a host, master of ceremonies, a podcaster, apparently also a, depending on what series you saw him in, a criminal.
Yeah.
As he was chased down by Dog the Bounty Hunter way back
It all
when.
depends on how you look at the video. So.
How you look at it. We have Big Body Cisco in the building today. I'm so thankful you were gracious with your time to come on the show today.
Come on. Anything for my boys. G and Austin, they want it, we're going to do it. They say shit, I'm going to say what color.
All right. So today I want to get into, I know you've been on other podcasts and things where I talk to you about like, what's it like being Cisco, but genuinely, how did we get to here today? How did it start for you as a professional now?
Well, it's just all trial and error. And I think trial and error goes from like finding your passion. You know, when you're a kid, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a football player, NFL. That was the one. So when you start getting older and you're like, okay, there's like a 2% chance of that happening. You're trying to look for other things to do. So in the Polynesian culture, it's either sports or security, or that's like the, that's the whole stereotype for it. So I wanted to kind of beat the odds for that. I was playing football. I enjoyed it, but I was like, okay, what's the pivot? Like, what's the next thing? Entertainment was a thing for me. I used to go, to nightclubs and to parties and see, the DJ kind of going. I was always a music lover. And when I got into the music, I was like, okay, no, I don't want to be the door guy. No, I don't want to be the bodyguard for the artist. How can I find my niche? And I was in Hawaii one time and I seen my boy B-Cat. He was on the other side of the DJ and he was just going with the music with the mic. And he was like, he knew every break. He knew every, what the chorus was on. So there was an interaction with him in the crowd that from that day on, I was like, that's what I want to do. And I kind of put it into my own, personality and the way I word things. Started doing that, and when your dad said, "You'll never get paid for that." Now I'm making my life out of this. So it was something that kind of came about where it was something that was fun, and I wanted to kind of see that was my passion. So I found my passion.
So explain to people a little bit who don't, because I even had to ask you at one point. I was like, Cisco, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah. So if you go to these festivals, when you go to do a festival, it's like maybe 6 bands, 10 bands, and in between the bands, there's a changeover. For the people who don't know, changeover is changing over from the artist that was just on onto the next artist that's coming about.
Their
and it gets real technical because like when you're an opener and stuff, you don't have that much to change over. But when you get to the headline, there's like longer, transitions and changeover times, like 30 minutes. So I always was go to a concert and be like, dude, it's so boring the in between. So I seen a DJ one time and I was like, what if I got with the DJ and just kind of interacted with the crowd? Did that, and concert promoters were like, hey, can you do that at our festival? Hey, can you do that at our show? And I was like, yeah. So I kind of got together. I was doing it by myself with doing DJing and MCing. And I was like, if I had a DJ that could kind of do the DJ part, it would let me kind of give me more free range of doing my MCing, interacting with the crowd, bringing little kids on stage. So I ran into Westafa, and when you're a DJ, you're a snob. You only kind of like the music you like and the way you like to play.
Which is why you're a DJ.
And that's why you do it. So when I had seen, or I went to an event where Westafa was doing, his music choice was like mine. And I was like, okay, that's dope. So me and him hit it off, and we ended up kind of getting together. My manager, Brandon, at the time was like, hey, he's from LA, you're from San Francisco. We should do this like Western Conference thing. And Western Conference was born. So Western Conference was a MC DJ combo that was getting hired to do concerts, to do the in-betweens. So, hey, we're doing this festival. So when we first did a festival, then we kind of seen what our worth was. We were like, okay, the production guys are having a hard time. They got to kill more time. So when you're as a patron, as a concert goer, if something's not going right, you kind of know. We're like the guys that kind of like, hey, Mirage, don't look over there, look over here type thing, while they situate that. So it's something that I think is still not respected as, what we do.
Right.
But for the master of what we craft, we kind of been in festival season. We've got 2 more coming up this season. We did over like 13, 15 of them this year alone.
Yeah, you've had a busy season. Yeah. So,
and I'm blessed to do that. So it's fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of doing that, somebody who comes from, the music industry, how do you market that as opposed to, like, if you're a band, it's kind of easy. You just go to a promoter, you're like, hey, we're this band, we play this style. Eventually you start getting on shows, you might pick up management, you might pick up something else. How does that work for you guys where you're like, we're talent, but not really talent, but also still talent?
So we kind of have to erase the gray line in between what you're assuming it is and what we're telling you it is. The dope part about social media is you can kind of like walk everybody through it. Right. So when we have like, my videography guys, I have Barry and I have Frames that are at these shows, they're putting up clips of not just the artist, they're putting up of what we do, the in-betweens and everything. So we'll put that on social media. It's like, oh, that's what they do. They're kind of like the in-between. So we kind of just like fluff everybody, pause, but we kind of prep everybody in the earlier part of the show.
Right.
But before the headliner, we're really direct support. So like, you know, you'll have the headline, the co-headliner, but really we're the person you see right before the main headliner goes on. So that's like our main set to kind of go off, because it's a longer transition and changeover time. So you're looking at about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, which is still a long time. But as a concert goer, if you're looking at me and Mustafa do what we do, you're partying to music that you like, which is always a cheat code, right? When you're a DJ, you could play anything and everything. When you're an artist, you just have to play your stuff, or you could sing or a cover or something.
Right.
With us, we're playing the actual songs of people that, okay, I see a Neil Diamond fan and a Sublime fan. Hey, I'll tell you what's up, Sublime. Okay, cool. We'll go on to Sublime. We'll go on to Neil Diamond. And all these people, you know, you see all these different races all the way around. You play the young card, you play the old card. So we do have an old school set. We have a new school set. I'll say, hey, Wes, party. And we'll do like an up-to-date party song. So we kind of have this verbiage between each other.
Right.
We read the crowd, and I think that's the most important thing. You have to read the room. Anywhere in any event you do, you have to read the room. If it's a bunch of old fogies, you play some old fogey music. You got
you're not gonna play Offset for the old people.
We're not gonna play Migos when it's like a 65 and up crowd. So, but it's all about reading the room, and I think the importance of that, to see what we do, and then people kind of see it on social media, it kind of puts two and two together. Oh, that's what I get. And when you're at the concert, you're like, okay, that's what they do. So we kind of still get billing as some of the top artists that are out there, because I was like, oh, you can't see a J-Book show without Western Conference. You can't see a Comic King show without Western Conference. And if you do, it's kind of weird. Oh, they kind of had someone's cousin kind of doing what you guys do. So now we're getting noticed.
Yeah, because I was going to say, that leads me into my next question, where now you guys are at a point where you're the name. You're Western Conference, like these festivals are now, like anytime I've even asked other people, and I'm like, what do you think of when you hear Holo Holo? And they go, oh, Western Conference. And I'm
absolutely,
like, so because how long have you guys been doing this?
I think it's on this second or third year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going on third year
with the festivals.
I'm doing it with Holo Holo itself. But we've been doing other festivals.
General,
just in general, probably over 15 years.
Wow. Okay. So when you were getting started, was it easier to go to the promoter, or was it easier to kind of try to tag along with like a bigger band?
No, it was definitely not easier, because back then they didn't give a shit if you were a DJ or an MC. They didn't really care. So, oh no, we're fine. We have the acts.
Right. So was it easier though if like Common Kings, for example, they're like, hey, we'll play. You also got to throw Western Conference on.
So now it's in the conversation.
Okay.
So now the promoters are, hey, do you guys have Western Conferences concert? Oh yeah, cool. We'll get you in contact with their booking. It wasn't like that where it was kind of like I was booking the show. I still book the shows for me and Mustafa, but I kind of have an approach as a booking agent, as a manager, as a
when you used to even do email my manager, and it was
it was Big Body Cisco's manager at Yahoo,
and
or
it was
something.
Just you,
and it was just me.
But you let them sit for a day, make them. Oh, hey, sorry, I'm super busy.
You got to make it. You got to fake it till you make it. And I say you make it bigger. Always make it bigger than it is, because you got to remember the people that are watching it don't know the backstory. They don't know what's the build up for it. So if they see this just big old extravagant thing, that's what their impression is of it.
Cool. So with that going forward, what do you find is like the most technical aspect of what you do with shows? Because like for me, as somebody who toured and played festivals, obviously I wanted to focus on being a good artist, but obviously I was hindered by, I got to make sure I'm at soundcheck. I got to make sure I'm at, so what is that like for you guys? What is a day on a normal festival? So we still do the same
things the artists do. Well, the difference between that is artists is doing a 20 to 45 minute set. We're throughout the day. So we're when gates and we're when closed. So we're doing the intro to the festival, we're doing the outro. So we're there the whole day into the night. So some of the artists will do their thing, then they'll go party. We can't party after our set. We got to get ready for the next set, because if you have a lineup with like 10 acts, we're in between all 10 of those acts. So if we do the sound check in the morning, and our thing is sound. We always want to be, so your best friend got to be the production guy. Your best friend got to be the front of house guy. So I never argue with them, say, hey, when you're done doing, because remember, we're building up our respect. So the more we do these festivals, I say, hey, as soon as you're done with the sound check, is it cool if we kind of get a wedge, with my mic? And it's because there'll be sound guys, they'll be like, dude, who are you? And I'm like, I know, bro, I'm the MC. And that. So when you say MC or you say DJ, to a production guy that's been doing big shows with artists and headliners, they don't give a shit about the MC or the DJ. So they're saying, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that later, bro. But now they're like, hey, if this isn't right, we're not doing it. We kind of built that reputation to kind of say, hey, if it doesn't sound right, just play your iPhone or something, play house music. But now the sound goes, okay, we got to get Cisco and Wes up to par, because they're part of the whole day. So the technical with me and Wes, if we go there and it doesn't sound right, we don't want to do it.
So now would that be, obviously, over 15 years in the industry doing it, at first was it just go along to get along for that?
Yeah, it was go along, like smile and kind of eat the shit.
Yeah.
Until it's like, okay. And then
now you can be at a point where you're like, hey, what are we doing?
Now it's kind of like, hey, this is what I do. If you guys don't want what we do, we don't have to do it. trust me. And then they're like, oh, no, wait, what did you need?
Yeah.
You know, so when we start sending over technical writers, they're like,
Yeah.
a DJ and an MC sending over a technical writer. But so, you know, we have like our stage plots where what stuff should be set up at.
Right.
And when we get to the shows, they're like, who are you? Oh, the DJ. He's like, why are you in the middle of the stage? They're like, oh, because we do our act before the main act. We're direct support. So when we come into these venues that have production managers that are on a high horse, we're saying, hey, who are you guys? Oh, we're direct support. We're not saying we're the MC and DJ. We're saying we're direct support.
Because that sounds better. That's the language they
Now
speak.
they're like, oh, okay, yeah, what did you need? So I kind of like learned how to use the verbiage against what I have. So it's a lot of research, and ChatGPT is like, who's the guy that's in charge of the sound? Oh, go see this guy.
Oh, front of
Monitors
house.
guy.
Tell him that he's using this board. You get there and he's like, nobody's used that board since the 80s.
It's all trial and error at the end of the day. It's like what works and what doesn't work. And you kind of just use what works. And, you know, I see what managers do with their artists. I look at their technical writers. I look at their outputs and their, you know, so I kind of say, okay, let's format our whole show like that. So when they're asking, hey, you just need like 2 mics and a DJ set, they're like, no, here's our technical writer. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like, oh, okay, you got to get all this stuff. So it's and we're still in those stages where we're trying to gain the respect of doing it slowly but surely. But I think, you know, by the time we're done, it'll be a little bit more easier for the guys that are kind of wanting to do what we do, for them to do what we do.
I know George is over there, and he's not going to say, he has a thing where he doesn't want to talk on this show. But he's like, what is this boy talking about? A writer? I remember having to fill out I think we only ever got a writer 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But stage plot, though, I remember having to fill out stage plot. And I remember one time a guy got mad at us because it was too detailed. And I was like, I'm just giving you all the info. Like, I'm letting you know I'm running 2 cabs ahead.
But that's what I've learned too. Like if it's too detailed and we have those type of guys that are at the venue, we'll have a simple one and we'll have one that'll be a technical one like that one.
Right.
Here you go. Take that one. So now you kind of eliminate.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
Oh, you're that guy. Here, this is your. Okay, cool. This is what so we learned to kind of have 3 sets of different, you know, tech writers, hospitality writers, where you can tell them you just want the green M&Ms. You can tell them you just want Fiji water.
What is the big body Cisco? Green M&M.
I haven't crossed that bougie lane because I don't want to be that diva of the thing.
Sure, so you're not Mariah Carey yet.
Me and Wes keep it simple. We have some energy drinks, water, and we have a fruit and vegetable tray. That's it. But other artists will have like, you know, ginger, honey, hot tea, you know, just for their voices and stuff like that. So we keep it simple, but when we know we can kind of get a little bit more in the hospitality writer, we'll say, oh, and a bottle of this. And
is it a point where like Common Kings like ask for anything?
Oh yeah, they just say whatever you guys need. So we've done like, you know, with Maoli, we've done it at T-Mobile. We did them at T-Mobile Arena. They was like, oh, what's your okay, cute? And I was like, oh, we want this and we want macadamia nuts and it was right there. It was like presented to
models?
us like. Oh, that's later in the day. That's after.
I'm just saying, you're just throwing.
We're throwing it, and they'll say, "Oh, come on, this is okay."
I was just joshing.
You push it, you just right on the line. You're like, oh, that's the line right there. So you push it until you can't push no more.
So doing this, obviously, okay. So now you've got the concert side down. You've got the performance side down. What does the business side look like for something like this? Because as you know, as when I was in a band, we never had a band bank account, a band checking, all that. What does that look like for you? Maybe even now at this point, so much later in your career as opposed to when you first started.
I just kind of asked around. I said, what is the business? I said, so, you know, I started learning about LLCs, like, you know, Big Body Cisco LLC. Like when you get to the promoter and they want to pay you don't want to say, oh, just give them my real name. Oh, I'm just going to put it in my personal account.
Yeah.
So you start learning about the business aspect of it. I need me get a business account. Let me open up a LLC and put it all there, because when you're kind of presenting and telling them, who do I pay? Oh, make it out to Big Body Cisco LLC. Now it's more professional. Now it's more business-like.
Right.
And you got to teach yourself that. What in my lane do I have to learn? You know, can I have a business account? What can I write off? What can I, you know, I travel all around. I just came from Tacoma. That's a write-off because I'm traveling on, on a plane in order to kind of do the business. So you kind of look, even what we have now with our studio, what part of the studio can my business pay for?
Sure.
You know, because they give you only so many things you can, but like, you know, equipment that we're using, the mic, the TVs and the cameras that the light, that's all like write-ups. And at first I was using all my own money, not knowing that from a personal account. So, you know, that was just taking it, chop it as a loss. But then like, no, you have to itemize things. And so that is a hard lesson to learn. I mean, you have to learn it, but you're going to learn the hard way, which I did. But now that we're slowly getting into it, okay, now that we have the business part of it, what other aspects and revenue streams can I get through this? Okay, I go to a show. They're selling merch over there. I don't have no merch. Okay, let me get into the merch game. Let me make this, and let me put my name on this, and now we're selling it. That's a whole different revenue stream than what you're making on the stage. Right. Why not make money on the stage? Why not, when you get off the stage, you're still making money, because at the merch booth, you're selling merch throughout the day. So my goal was to make money when I'm sleeping. So that's when we have the website. Hey, but when I go to sleep, hey, we're bringing out a new shirt. New big body Cisco shirt.
Yeah, you wake up and you have a team that
wake up and I'm like, damn, I sold this many shirts, or I sold this many hoodies. So, and we go with the times. Right now we're going into the winter. Now we got to make hoodies. Now we got to make sweatpants. And so I just been fortunate to have other business partners that's already been in that kind of circle already to kind of say, hey, how come you're not doing merch? I was like, I don't know, teach me. So you got to teach them how to do the merch game. So now kind of goes that, and now I'm seeing artists that are like, "Hey, I see all the merch. Hey, you're not doing merch yet? No, come on, let's do it." So we'll do it for the help them. Now we get a cut of that, and now we get a percentage of this. So it's all a business at the end of the day. And if you do it right, which I'm still doing it wrong in certain areas, it's trial and error, but it's learning the hard way. But once you get it, it's like so smoother of a transition to kind of say, "Oh yeah, I pay taxes on that. Oh, I couldn't do this." But now you're starting to get grants. And now you're starting to get other things from AAPI, and there's an allotment of money that the government has set aside for Pacific Islander businesses. We didn't know that growing up, but now that we have politicians that are kind of coming to the concerts, they're like, "Hey, I'm a councilman. How come you guys ain't getting no grants?"
Yeah, greasing some palms. You
kissing babies on the forehead.
You might have to help them get some oil or something, but you're making it happen.
But once you learn that and kind of see who's in position to kind of give you those opportunities, there's grants that can help me with this. I want to throw a concert. There's grants from the government that I can help throw a concert if we're doing it for certain nonprofits.
Yeah, benefiting somebody or something.
It's dope. It's a crazy game because I felt like we weren't taught that on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I felt like we weren't taught that because they was like, "Oh no, if you could figure it out, figure it out." Then you look at all the successful guys, like the game's not to be, so. But I think if you share the game with everybody else, it kind of gives everybody a little spark under their ass, because now they're kind of saying we're in friendly competition, but all of us are making money at the end of the day where everybody eats. And I think that's the stigma now, where everyone wants to keep it to themselves. Like, nah, put it out there for everybody. They're not you. They're not me. They're going to be able to do certain things, but as long as the game is there, we all get the same 24 hours in the day. We all get the same, well, not the same dealt hand, because it's in poker, it's different. But when it matters what you do with the cards that you're dealt with.
Yeah.
And we all had that same decision to do. I said, once you get your passion, once you get the business side of it, once you start seeing what AI could do for you, what Chat GPT could do for you, you got to keep up with the Joneses. You got to keep up with the times. And if you're not doing that, you just kind of say, no, I'm going to keep doing it the way I'm doing it. It's so changing so rapidly and so quickly that if you don't catch up, you're going to be left behind.
So I want to kind of touch back on what you were talking about with having the business partners. There's a huge thing now where like everybody's like, I'm going to get a mentor.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm going to get Grant Cardone, but I don't think Grant Cardone helps me necessarily. How do you feel about, like, did you have a mentor coming up or somebody that kind of helped you along the way?
I use social media. I use social media as, what I wanted as a thing. So when I say I use Grant Cardone, I'll use him for what I feel I can put into my everyday use.
Sure.
I'll watch a lot of these guys. I watch the Joe Rogans, I watch the Grants, and I watch all like the motivational speakers and kind of take pieces from here to pieces from there, put it to how Cisco would use it. And then now, with social media and with YouTube, you have a whole plethora of information that's out
YouTube
there.
University for a reason.
Exactly. So, and during the pandemic, I used YouTube University to teach myself how to set up a chat in a Twitch stream. And, as long as you are willing to teach yourself, you can always be learning something new. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, don't let this younger guy tell me what to do. Nah, please tell me. I need to know. And once you get over that ego and once you get over that mountain of, kind of like not being embarrassed for somebody that you think was lesser than you to tell you something that might actually teach you something,
right? That's
going to be the way you transition to your business into what you're going to keep going for growth. If you don't have any of that, there is no growth in your business. So I think if you don't know the game, it's out there for you to do it, but no one's going to purposely say, this is how to do it.
Sure.
You have to go through the bullshit. It's like, okay, let me grab this. Oh, Austin does this. Oh, G does this. Everyday conversations I have, I take and try to put it into my business. Conversations I have with you when we're shooting a podcast. Hey, how's this look? Okay, so, and when you're not there, hey, nah, Austin did it like this.
Right.
Because that's just the way I like it. You know what I mean? So pause again, just getting crazy.
Cisco's 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, it's strike 3 and I'm out.
Yeah, at this point, we might have to be like, you know what, thank you very much for your time. So let's get into, you just recently opened up the Shack LV, which is a barbershop in the front and I'm not even going to call it a podcast. It's a content house in the back.
Like you look at these like what people were saying, the idea for the barbershop was there. I knew it was a necessity. Every time I traveled, I always needed a barber. Every time I came to Las Vegas, I always needed a barber. The thing with Las Vegas, if you're in Las Vegas, you got to look good. That was just always my mentality. So when I started getting barbers and getting my haircut when I came to visit in Vegas and I was living out here, I was getting my haircut from my boy Josh, and he was cutting my hair. I was like, "What's your dream?" He was like, "I want to own my own barbershop." And this is when I first started doing with Sticky Paws. I was like, "Oh, well, I'm renting out this studio thing." I said, "But if you find a spot, get me, because I want to do my own." Because that's when I was at Sticky Paws. I was kind of saying, "I want this studio." And I could take
but
this
I want
aspect
it for myself.
For myself.
Yeah.
And nothing against like what people were doing there already.
Sure.
Like there were so many people there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what's funny enough is that's the old studio George and I used to work at, but that was why that studio was born.
Yes.
Because originally the owner had a show and was like, "Well, I'm tired of not being able to get in. I want to be able to just book, and I'm the one that gets to say so."
But then doing that had me spark relationships like yourself and with George. Like I seen the hungriness the way we were kind of doing. Sticky Paws was just a stepping stone in what we were all gonna go do.
Agreed.
Nothing against what we had. You have to go through. You have to crawl before you walk. And I think those were the crawling process. Whether it was a good experience or a bad experience, learning from that is mostly what we get out of it, right?
Yeah.
What we learn not to do, what we learn what we really want to do. So I take it from those experiences. Okay, I like this and this about Sticky Paws, but I didn't like this and that about Sticky Paws. How do I do that for the next studio? So then I started to come here when you guys came here as well, and still soaking it up. Okay, cool. I like the decoration.
Yep.
Because I knew the space was coming.
Yeah.
And when it did come, we had the opportunity. It was right there on Las Vegas Boulevard. My boy Raleigh had opened up Honors, and I was like, "Man, this is a big old plaza. It's called Vegas Point Plaza, 9175 South Las Vegas Boulevard." It's a shameless plug.
Yeah. But if you also need a podcast here or there, just let me know.
But both areas.
Yeah.
But when I had seen it was on Las Vegas Boulevard, his address on his business said Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah, it's great for people who don't live here.
Yes. If you don't live here, it's like, "Oh, where are you at?" "I'm on Las Vegas Boulevard."
Now for us, we're like, "Oh, Las Vegas Boulevard. I don't want to go down."
That's kind of fun. It's by South Point, right?
Yeah.
But I think the only thing with me is once we got the space, now you're learning a whole different side of the business.
Yeah, that's
now
what I
you're
wanted
a
to ask
business
you about
owner.
next.
Now you kind of have somebody that you're leasing the space from building, operations, and so it was different because it's still learning. I'm trying to master the other passion. Now we're going into the passion of being a business, but you have to have extensions or olive branches from what you're doing, and you can't just stay stagnant in what you're doing. So that was a challenge because I wanted to challenge myself. Could I be a business owner? It also benefits me because we have the barbershop, which I knew that was the main focus, because that's the mailbox money.
Yep.
You got the barbershop that's going to make the money consistently. Now in the back, where I say, when you get a haircut, it's party in the front, business in the back, right? Or vice versa.
Yep.
Ours was like, I need a space in the back where I could do something like this studio, like Sticky Paws, like, where you
Tiny
enjoy
desk, all that
tiny
kind of
desk.
stuff,
So
yeah.
those starts getting the wheels going. Then I had to figure out, how do you run it? How do you run it as a business?
Yeah.
Now do we want 4 barbers? Do we want 8 barbers? Do we want 10 barbers? We ended up doing 14 barbers.
Yeah, how many are we at right now?
We're at 10 barbers that have chairs, 4 barbers.
Which, by the way, if you want to be a barber,
BigBodyCisco.com. If you guys, but you have to have a barber's license, not a license from Malibu to go ride, cars and stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's the one you always talk about. I don't mean driver's license. I mean barber's
trust me,
license.
my DM's like, "Oh, I got a license." No, a barber's license. "Oh, you need a barber's license?" "Yes, you need a barber's license."
One of my editors watches the show and she was like, "I didn't know you needed a license to be a barber." And I was
You'd be surprised. A lot of people don't know that. They think just because they know how to cut, like, no, you got to go to school.
And then they find out, wait, what do you mean my 8 felonies means I can't cut hair?
So wait, my second strike, I can't get a cut hair, but at the end of the day, you're a business owner. And when we got barbers in our thing, I had to see what kind of approach I wanted to come as a business owner. Did I want to come at these barbers as, "Oh, I'm your boss and you're renting this chair for me"?
Yeah.
I said, nah, I would want to be on the other side of that. So I would say, put myself in their position. So I kind of went into these interviews and say, "Hey, look, I'm not your boss. I'm your business partner. You're renting a chair from our establishment. We're business partners. I'm here to market you, to kind of get you," because I'm not a barber. Josh was my partner. He's the barber.
Yeah.
So I just know how to get haircuts, but I knew, how do we get these guys? How do we get these barbers? We don't have a lot of walk-ins. You're right there on Las Vegas Boulevard, so you're not getting the everyday foot traffic. So how do I said, so when I had these interviews, look, I'm going to help you market yourself. I got a podcast in the back room. When I do things, "Hey, this is our barber. This is our braider. This is our," so now they're like, "Oh, we're going to be in front of a camera." So now you're trying to get a generation that really wasn't down with the social media content to kind of buy into what your vision was. The vision was, you got to hustle and build this social media content for yourself. When I interview people, "Are you a social media person?" Not really. Then this is probably not the barbershop for you. So, and those are the conversations that needed to be had, because one of our barbers, Matty Cuts, was huge.
Shout out Matty Cuts.
Shout out Matty. He was huge on social media. So when I found, I said, "Wait, he's in Vegas?" I said, "Hey, it was a cold call. I DM'd, 'Hey, you don't really know me, but I'm about to open a barbershop, but I seen all his content, his barbering content."
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted. I said, if we're gonna have a barbershop, it has to be social media content, funny videos, the way people are getting their haircut. And Maddie was like, bro, say less. I'll be there.
Yeah.
So it kind of trickled down from there. We got a bunch of barbers. Now we're up to 10, and now we're looking for 4 more. And by next year, like we're not even in a full year of being in the shack, and now we want to have a full barbershop by the new year.
Yeah. So going back to the challenges, what did you find were the biggest challenges? Like, what did it look like for you to get the shack up and running?
It took a lot. It took a big team of mine, like with my brother CB, and you get people that want to buy into what your dream is, right? You look for investors, you have to explain to them what it is. When we got into this spot, it was an old travel agency,
right?
So people don't see what you see now. They kind of see like, you're gonna make a barbershop out of this? You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, there's points where I looked, I was like, you're right. How the hell do we get this? So you kind of gotta look through that, because you can get discouraged and deterred easily.
Right.
So I kind of had to sit there and be like, okay. And Josh was like, yeah, we're gonna have this here, because he's been in barbershops, and I wasn't seeing it until everything was gutted. When you gut everything, now your vision's like, oh, okay, now I can kind of see it. But when you're looking there and there's carpet there and there's a wall there, yeah, we're gonna knock this wall down, and we're gonna do, I was like, for real, when? How many years is it going to take to? Because I don't knock down walls, and
right.
So when it finally started to come to fruition was when the construction was going, and I started to see, oh damn, that's the podcast room. Oh wow, that's the the bathrooms for this too. So
George, have you seen it since it's been done? Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
I mean, it's a dope spot now. I mean, we're slowly getting it to where we need it to be.
Yeah.
But you still, I mean, every day, like I went today, and I was like, man, why does it smell like ass in here? I was like, oh, we need air fresheners. So I went to Walmart, buy like 8 plugins and all that. I'm a neat freak. So when I come in and you have like 10 barbers that are not, I'm not saying they're not neat freaks. I'm just saying you're not picky like me.
Right.
And I have that strong personality where I like everything clean. When it comes like, okay, this needs to be dusted. I went to Walmart, bought a duster. You know what I mean? So where there's things like that where that's just how it's our business. If it's clean like your house, I feel like you're successful when it's clean. That's just my take on it. But I think doing stuff like that every day, dealing with the different personalities, dealing with the different type of entrepreneurs want to be involved in the barbershop. Then you have everybody that's coming in. Like I had Common Kings come in last week. Had a bunch. Lamar Odom came by. I was like, "What's Lamar Odom doing in here?" But he came by. Was checking out the shop. Yeah. And it's crazy because you never know who's going to walk through those doors. Us being in the music industry, we're going to have our artists come from our demographic. When we start getting the others come by, like they'll go from Honors. Like Lamar Odom was at Honors at first. He was like, "Hey, I need a barbershop to do my," because he's bald, of course.
Yeah, but he's like, "I need my face.
I need a lineup."
And they're like, hey,
come over here to Shack. So that just shows you what the resources can do for you as well. Yeah. Like right now, a jiu-jitsu gym is opening right next door to us. And
another one, because there's one at the end of
at the end
with the guy who parks in front of the thing every time. So I wanted to touch on that too, because I remember when you were pitching this to me, you were sitting in my seat right now, and you were like, we have Honors there. We're gonna have us, and then it sounds like you're kind of building out your own community within this parking lot.
When we did our grand opening, we had the AAPI representatives, we had the assemblymen for that district. Those are people that were there. I was like saying, hey, you guys are AAPI business, which in hindsight, I wasn't looking at it like that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm Polynesian.
I just happen to be Polynesian who wants his own business.
And I didn't know. She was like, well, if you get more, and it's a huge plaza.
It's huge.
Like they have
I've spent a lot of money there at the antique mall.
The antique. Yeah. So I go there on breaks and stuff, but we just go over there, chill out. But looking at the plaza, I seen the potential. Like, man, if we get more businesses over here, like Stoney's used to be in that corner, the country bar, but now that's still there. It's still a live music venue that they're going to start to turn into something. I just started saying, hey, if we start building here, Honors is there. We got Skimo's coffee shop next to Honors. It's starting a domino effect. Now the Shack LV's there. Now the jiu-jitsu gym's there. Now we have, Motown that's over there. That's like a lounge and live music spot.
Yeah.
They have a church over there that's actually a Samoan church. And we're like, okay, now we can start making this into like a community thing where we're doing events. Like we had a trunk or treat for Halloween. We're doing a toy drive for the holidays as well. So you start getting the community involved. Then it goes back to what I was talking about with grants. Hey, if you guys are doing a community event, let us know. You guys can have all this stuff. We're like, man. And now we have the space. So we're trying to work hand in hand with the owner of the complex. And he kind of tells us what we can and can't do. And we just kind of just push the envelope into, do the events that we want to do. But my goal is to kind of have all of our businesses there and do like a big festival in the parking lot, because we're all tied into that music and cars. And so it'll be dope at the end of the day, but like it's work. At the end of the day, it's work. We had hard rains the other day, and then we found out the ceiling was leaking. And those are like I just finished construction. Now that whole wall's bubbling from I'm like, and then you got to deal with the property managers and, that's not our, so as a business owner, you're going to deal with stuff every day.
Yeah.
AC went out and it was 120 degrees. And we're like, okay.
And then you're like, okay, well, how much is $5,000?
Yes. And now you're paying for AC throughout the day because you're a business. So
and you still have to meet payroll. You still have to meet your bills.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but what the joy for me is to having at grand opening, my mom was there, my kids were there, to see them, that somebody that's like myself that probably shouldn't even been in this situation, granted to the stuff that I grew up doing.
According to 20, 30 years ago, you should have been arrested by Dr. Bounty
I shouldn't even been here. And to have a business and kind of show my family that this is possible, now it's kind of like inspiring my son. Hey, Dad, how did you do that? My son's a graphic designer. He does all my stuff that's on billboards for the Palms. My son's, graphic designing that. And to see his work in Las Vegas on billboards, that motivates him. So, and then the reason we do podcasting is because I'm just talking about my everyday life, but that can inspire somebody. One of these lines that we're saying over there, somebody can hang on to that and be like, oh, that's what I like. You know what I mean? And I think the content is key. I think content is king. And I think that's why we do a weekly podcast now. That's why when I have artists in there, we kind of like deciphered how we're going to do two. Can we talk with Big Body Cisco is a weekly one, because that's going to keep the content kind of like fresh weekly. Then we have our Western Conference one, so now I could be bougie with it. So when I have an artist there, that's the Western Conference podcast.
Right.
And we kind of just, when Fiji had passed, we did two with him. We did two, one at Sticky Paws, one at the studio, and to kind of have that as our content in our library was huge, because you never know what's going to happen. Whether we had Talanoa Hufanga when he was a Niner, and now he's a Denver Bronco, and now we had Jesse Sapolu, who's, we're trying to fight for him to go into the Hall of Fame, and he's doing the politics. So little things that, like this interview right here, you can hold on to this and people can use it as reference to be like, wait, what was Cisco talking about on Austin's show?
Yeah,
and now it's
like
cross promotion.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like seeing in time where you're at in the journey. Yeah.
And the diary, I think now for these kids are talking about where these podcasts are an outlet.
Yeah.
If you get two mics and you get some, a decent camera and you guys can put it on YouTube, people with less can do what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we just kind of want to make it on, if we are able to do it with these nice cameras and nice microphones.
Georgia, at least my first podcast was in my garage with two USB mics on a computer. But the thing is it couldn't tell if it was two. Yeah. So it was just one. So
you were just hoping.
So you just hear somebody just breathing on the other side. And you're like, well, I can't fix that in post. But yeah, here we are. But then we
get like, roadcasters, and we get, things that we're able to work with. And, you have buttons that you're pressing that kind of just edit it's all live on the show. So keeping up with the times and keeping up with the Jones, like I said, it goes back to that where everything is at our disposal. It's really on us how we use it and if we use it. There's a lot. Like I said, there's days I'm lazy and there's days I'm motivated. It's those in between days. Which one am I going to be? When am I that fork? When I wake up, I make that decision as well. So everything that you can control within your realm is really what you're going to do throughout the day.
So two more questions before we get out of here, Big Body. First one, 5 to 10 years, what does that look like for Big Body specifically? I don't plan on still being on stage in 5 to 10 years. I plan on being the producer of these events. Gotcha.
The reason why I'm doing a lot of these festivals, because I am in the back scene saying, okay, that's how this works. That's how artist relations work.
You're gathering information.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of just soaking up like a sponge right now, because like I said, I've been on the stage doing what I've been doing for over 20 years. And no one wants to see the old guy, hey, bro, so my pivot is to, I've dabbled in comedy. I did the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club. And
when was this?
Yes. See, so when you have a passion, you want to go try it out with people you don't know.
Sure.
Because if you go there with people you do know, they're like,
you make me laugh when you don't mean to.
So it was always a pivot of mine because I love comedy.
Yeah.
And I grew up on Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Martin Lawrence. I grew up in that era where, the Dave Chappelle's and everything. I always find it funny because I'm using those jokes with my friends and family. And I was saying, I use those jokes through stage shows when I'm killing time. The podcast that we're doing. So if it's not forced, and it's something that I've heard time, because I hate comedians that think they're comedians and they're not even funny, and I've run into a lot of them. But it's
most of them.
Yeah. But it's like if I go out there and trust me, be doing comedy and being on the stage. I've been on stage with over 20,000 people. I've been in the comedy room at Jimmy Kimmel's. It was less than 100, and I'm like, it's a different nervous.
Yeah.
It's a different nervous. So when I did it, I just kind of like blanked them all out and just kind of went out and did it. So they asked me to come back. Shout out Michael Yo. We did it on his night, and it was dope, man. So that might be the pivot, but you always have to have a pivot. So when you say 5 to 10 years, I want the shack to be successful. So I want there to be a shack in San Francisco. I want there to be a shack. So it's always about expansion. No, we can't beat Father Time. So when you adjust to it, you kind of say, I can have a better time with Father Time if I learn from my mistakes from doing business. So I definitely want the shack to be out there. Western Conference is going to be a thing, but you won't see me in West Alpha behind the scene. Maybe we'll have the next up and coming DJ and MC, kind of like mimic what we're doing and kind of just say, hey, this is what worked for us, and kind of teaching like, we're not what I want to do at school, but if somebody's there, a lot of DMs come through, hey, what made you want to be MC? I answer the question. I don't just leave them on red. You know what I mean? Not all of them, but it's always about teaching the next generation. And I think I have kids, so I want their generations, because I think this generation's soft coming up. They didn't get the ass whoopings we were getting back in the day. They didn't get away with a lot of stuff they're getting away with now, because me as a parent, I can tell you firsthand that I'm a softer parent because I don't want them to grow up the way I grew up. So it's always like kind of go down the line from there. So, but going up, you guys have everything at your fingertips. Yeah. ChatGPT, AI, and all the stuff that's
Uber Eats. You don't even gotta go outside.
You don't have to leave the house. Like we were playing outside when we come home, when the street light come on.
Yeah, street lights are coming on. Mom's gonna beat my ass if I'm not home.
And they don't have that now. Now you have video games that are taking over, iPads, phones. So you have to adapt to where I want my kids to still kind of like use it to their advantage, but use it in a way where they're not being lazy. Use it in a way that's going to benefit them going forward. And I think that's the same thing with our businesses. And from 5, 10 years from now, I don't want to say, well, I don't want to be doing the same thing. No one wants to be doing the same thing. So I think in 5 to 10 years, I want to see growth, and growth where there's a pivot going the right way and not pivot going the wrong way with somebody that like Aaron Rodgers that can't let go of Father Time. And
shout out Aaron Rodgers putting up an amazing performance. My Chargers, we just got to beat the Broncos. It really is. We just got to beat them again.
Broncos look good though. Broncos look good.
But we beat them last time.
Chargers and Broncos are given the fight for the money because it's always normally Kansas City. So.
Yeah. But so last question, and this is gonna be a little bit different because I normally have other content creators on.
Absolutely.
And I always go, what's the one camera and one lens you'd have? For you, you're stuck on a desert island. What's the 3 albums you have with you?
Oh, 3 albums. Man, I normally say this is hard, but I think for me now, I would have Gratitude from Fiji.
Okay.
I would have Off the Wall from Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And then I would have, I know that I would have the Jodeci album, the Jodeci Greatest Hits album.
Okay.
And that's just something because if I find like a bush woman over there, I'm gonna need Jodeci to play. If
I find a bush woman over there,
because I'm always about creating a mood, and I always
also need like a palate cleanser.
Yeah. And I think music can always be like your gateway out of a lot of stuff that people are going through. We're living in a crazy time right now. You know, we're living with government shutdowns. We're living with a lot of stuff that out of our control. But what we can't control is if music makes us feel good, if going to a live show makes us feel good. So if you control what you can control, like I'm not saying, I don't get into politics and like religion and everything. I just say control what you can control. If it's out of your control, why try to control it? So with that said, it's just for those people watching now, it's kind of like you can always go YouTube University. I just got a DM today from a kid saying I'm gonna drop out of college. I had to be real careful on how I answered it.
Yeah.
Cisco, I want to drop out of college and do what you do. I said, whoa, pump your brakes, kid.
How far into college are we? Because if we're a semester in,
he's a second year in college. So I said, look, know what your passion is. You know, he's at that fork. He's at the fork. I hate school. And, you know, it doesn't make it easy with social media in today's society to like school. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, because if you have so many entrepreneurs that are saying, you know, fuck school, you don't have to do it. But I told them, and I had to be real careful answering them, was like, look, if you know what your passion is and you know what you want to do and you have a plan, then you can talk about leaving school. Dropping out of school is a little, that's a little much.
Yeah.
I don't know how your parents, how invested they are with it. So I didn't really ask too many questions. I kind of gave him like the overall answer that I would want to hear if I was asking somebody that. Because mind you, he's asking me as a fan, and he's asking me as somebody who's watching my podcast.
Yeah, it's like me asking Joe Rogan. Yeah. Joe, I'm going to drop out of school. How do I do what you do? And he's going to be like, bro, I don't even know how to do
exactly.
it.
And that's what I didn't want to do with him. Yeah. I want to be like, oh, everything's going to be good. Just drop out of college. So I said.
But make sure you pick up your next Western Conference hoodie.
And this kid has all of them. He has my Western Conference. So he sees that, and he sees the entrepreneurship, but I have to tell him that it's not easy. We make it look easy because that's how we have to make it look. Yeah. But there's a road that you have to go. And if college for another year is, gonna not prolong you and you can kind of get that college under your belt, why wouldn't you do it? Because I've had a few podcasts where I was like, man, F school, don't do this, find your passion, do that. But the more you kind of look at the wider spectrum of everyone's not like you, people don't have your personality, people don't have your drive. So you have to be careful when you answer, like this kid that hit me on, I had to be real, because I was like, oh yeah, you're right, do it. nah, bro, do you have a plan? Do you have this? So he was like, oh man, thanks for that. So hopefully he's not dropping out of college yet, but hopefully he has a plan. Yeah. Because I don't want people to say, oh, well, I'll just ask ChatGPT. He could ask ChatGPT that. You know what I mean? So
ChatGPT would have been like, per your mandated government regulations, you can't do that. Cisco, once again, thank you so much for coming on. Let the people know what you got going on. Where can they find you?
A Big Body Cisco everything. BIGBODYCISCO, like San Francisco, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, but all over social media. You can go to bigbodycisco.com to find all of our content. You'll find us on YouTube as well, the Western Conference YouTube channel that you run. Thank you, by the way. We're doing numbers over here. We're doing numbers.
We are doing numbers.
We're at about 8,000 subscribers now. We're trying to get to that 10,000 point. But like I said, I don't really look at those numbers until it's time to look at those numbers. I think a lot of people kind of go off the likes, kind of go off the views.
I'm your buffer. I'm your buffer of like, Cisco, they love the content. It's great.
So I think if you just keep making the content without that in the back of your mind, the content will be more organic and the content will be more authentic. If you're trying to go for those numbers, you're going to kind of veer the other way. You're going to
be bummed. Yeah. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, you can find me on there. Big Body Cisco, everything.
Well, thank you so much again, Big Body Cisco, for coming on. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Make sure you check out the Substack link down below. Let me know what you guys, who should I interview next? Who should I have on? What kind of industry should we jump into next? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.